All right, y'all, we are back with another video. I definitely had to bring y'all this. Boy. Dan Bongino is pissed off. Not only that, we're going to be checking out this video by Benny. He said that Dan Bongino walks out of FBI on President Trump after furious clash with Pam Bondi over the Epstein files. And come to find out that they said that Dan Bongino is pissed off that Pam Bondi don't want to release the Epstein files. Because he don't want to be the part of, a lot of people blaming him and stuff like that. Not only that, came to my attention that even Kash Patel is threatening to quit if Pam Bondi don't get fired. So right now, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel wants President Trump to fire Pam Bondi now. Because Dan Bongino done walked out. Now you got Kash Patel saying that he's threatening to quit if she's not fired. So what I would ask y'all is, if she's fired, who do y'all think should replace Pam Bondi? A lot of people I seen in the comments yesterday talking about they would rather have Matt Gaetz. But we don't know. So y'all let me know, how do y'all feel about Pam Bondi being fired? How y'all feel about Dan Bongino walking out on President Trump because of what Pam Bondi did? And like I said, there's been a lot of President Trump supporters mad about this situation. Everybody said they want transparency. So y'all let me know, how do y'all feel about that? But we definitely finna go ahead and dive straight into this. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to everybody showing so much support. And shout out to the ones who always stay to the end and let me know in the comment section that you did watch the entire video. I really, really appreciate it. And the ones that come straight in and hit that like button, all right? So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and dive straight into this. Now, as y'all can see right here on the screen, now before we get into Benny video, check this out by Colin Rugg. He said, new Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino is out of control, furious, and will quit unless AG Pam Bondi is fired, according to NBC News. This destroyed his career. He's threatening to quit and torch Pam unless she's fired, a source told the outlet. Bongino and Kash Patel was asked during a meeting with Bondi and White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles on Wednesday about a report that they were dissatisfied with the decision not to release any Epstein files. So that's the reason why you see Kash Patel is pissed off. Dan Bongino is mad. They're like, no, we said that we was going to release these files. And now they say that Pam Bondi is the one saying don't release it. So like, what is going on? It's the meeting then got pretty heated, according to a source who spoke with NBC. The source familiar with the perspectives of Patel and Bongino said that they have been increasingly frustrated with Bondi over a variety of issues, not just the Epstein's file, NBC added. President Trump reportedly has not lost confidence in anyone involved. So, like I said, right now, it does not look good for Pam Bondi, especially when you got Kash Patel and Dan Bongino mad and saying that it's not only just the Epstein's file, it's other stuff. And that's the reason why you've been seeing like Laura Aluminum pushing, saying that she needs to be fired. This is what a lot of people is saying right now. But let's get into Benny video, because like I said, he has a little bit more on this. So let's go.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. Everybody has a breaking point. We're all human after all, and I was worried in seeing the catastrophic scorched earth fallout of the Trump administration's mishandling of the Epstein files and this case, that it would have contagion effects on some of the other individuals inside of federal law enforcement who've taken massive pay cuts and done an enormous amount of self-sacrifice in order to get into these positions. And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Bongino has left his office inside of the FBI over the handling of the Epstein files and case, with Attorney General Pam Bondi having the clash point here. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino took the day off of work on Friday after clashing with the White House, at the White House, with Attorney General Pam Bondi over the handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Four sources familiar with the conflict told Axios. Why it matters. The dispute erupted Wednesday amid the fallout from the administration's walking back its claims in the Epstein by determining the convicted sex offender didn't have a celebrity client list and that he wasn't murdered in his New York City prison cell in 2019. Bongino didn't come to work on Friday, leading some insiders to believe that he had quit. The administration officials saying that he's on the job as internal tension over the Epstein case explodes. Zoom in at the center of the argument, a surveillance video from outside of Epstein's cell. The administration release saying that it was proof that nobody had entered the room before he killed himself We've broken that down. It's absolute garbage. It's just a matter of fact. It is garbage. It's not true.
Then we find out, like I said, it was a minute missing from that time. So we ain't forgot about that whole minute that was took out. What is they hiding that minute that was removed in that footage? So like I said, something is not right. And you gotta believe this. Like Dan Bongino is, like I said, another one that said, hey, we need to get this Epstein list out. And then so what I kept saying and what a lot of people kept saying, what is they hiding? Why is Pam Bondi lying? First you said you had a truckload of papers. You remember she said that? She said, we just got a truckload in. I got papers sitting right here on my desk and I just got to review them. And then you come out the other day saying, oh, there's nothing. So everybody, y'all just move on. And a lot of people didn't like President Trump's response. And I took up for the president because I said that I felt like President Trump said that about the Epstein file, not because he really believed. I believe at that time he was more concerned on the Texas flood and the stuff that just happened, kids losing their life, adults losing their life. And he was more focused on that at the time that reporter. Because like I said, the reporter didn't do no wrong. He just asked a question. But I just believe President Trump focus was more over there. I just wish President Trump would have said, hey, we'll get back to it right now, just not the time, because we're trying to, see what's going on in Texas and the stuff that happened over there. And that's the way I believe, because President Trump been getting a lot of wins. He's been getting a lot of wins. So at the end of the day, I still believe in President Trump, and I still believe he's going to get the job done. And that's just how I feel about it. I'm not trading. I'm not giving up on President Trump because I believe he's still going to get the job done.
The video of the cell is not a video of the cell. Even here, this reporting is wrong. A video outside of Epstein's cell. It's not outside of Epstein's cell. You can't see even the tear block. It's just an entry to the floor where Epstein was kept.
Exactly.
You don't even see the door of Epstein's tier, much less Epstein's door. You don't see anything having to do with Epstein at all.
So I'm saying they lying.
Say that this was conclusive, there were minutes missing.
Yep.
That nobody even tried to explain. Listen, if there's an explanation, then give it to us. But there was no explanation. And the one that we got from Pam Bondi was insane. We just delete minutes all the time. Well, that seems wrong.
Delete minutes? What?
Shouldn't that be something that we fix? There's just minutes deleted all the time. There were people coming and going. Nobody explained that. In the video, there are at least 7 people that come in and out of the floor. Nobody explains who they are. Nobody names them. Nobody says whether they're supposed to be there. The whole thing's a nightmare. When you actually study the video, I think they weren't counting on people, on autists, studying the video. Sure did.
Well, we seen everything.
The 10-hour video had been widely called Missing Minute, fueling conspiracy theories about a cover-up. The Missing Minute, authorities say, stemmed from an old surveillance recording system that goes down every day at midnight to reset anew. Seems like a bad system, but at the very least prove to us that it happens every single night.
Yeah,
you show us footage of dozens of nights?
Exactly. You're going to have to show something.
Don't worry about it. Seems odd. Bongino, who pushed the Epstein conspiracy theories on his MAGA-friendly podcast before President Trump appointed him to lead the FBI, found the video and touted it privately as proof that Epstein did not and had not been murdered. That conclusion, shared by FBI Director Kash Patel and other conspiracy theorists turned insiders, angered many Trump MAGA-based criticisms, as Axios first reported in a release of the video and related memo. After the video's missing minute was discovered, Bongino was blamed internally for the oversight, according to 3 sources. 2 sources familiar with Bongino's position said he was increasingly displeased with Bondi's handling of the Epstein case because she had publicly overpromised and underdelivered on disclosures, the Epstein client list.
See, and that's what everybody's talking about, that the way that she overpromised. Because, when she was getting on Fox News, she had a lot of people believing that they done found something. Even when Alina Habba got on there, pretty much saying, hey, we got this, we got that. We can't wait to show y'all this. And so it was the way that Pam Bondi presented everything that made it seem like it was something there to show us. And then when you asked about it, you just say nothing is there. It's like, whoa, what about all that you were saying about you got this, you got a truckload, you got this on your desk, you got this. And then all of a sudden, now you don't have anything. So a lot of people is going to hold your foot to the fire because you just can't tell us don't worry about it, let's move on. We ain't moving on nowhere. We want to know. We want transparency. It was the way that Pam Bondi presented all of this and had everybody thinking that they got something. So this is where you see a lot of people getting mad about.
let me just say this. That's correct. I know some of these things to be true. Some of these things I think we're going to have to depend on other reporting. But I know this to be true. Because I've called the FBI and I've called the DOJ and I've called the White House. And I've spoken with people who have the impeccable credentials on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people are not happy with how this has been handled. And the reality of this in particular, there are other, this isn't the same for everything, but for this in particular, all of the evidence is at Maine Justice. The evidence of the Epstein case lies within Maine Justice, lies within the Southern District of New York. The FBI has virtually nothing because the FBI, they're an intelligence agency that turns over all their evidence for prosecutions. They were going to prosecute Epstein, prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell. They turned it all over. That is the system. That is the process, whether you like it or not. And so people are very frustrated at like the timing of all of this. It all stems from Maine Justice. It comes from Maine Justice. And then an insane memo saying that, hey, there's nothing to see here, move on. That was unsigned. It was released and leaked for some reason to Axios. I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Now Axios up with this story. Two sources familiar with Bongino's position say he was increasingly displeased with Bondi's handling of Epstein. She had publicly overpromised and underdelivered. Yep. That's right. That's what I've heard.
Yep.
Well. That's what my sources have told me as well. That they're frustrated about the rollout, but especially all the media hits talking about it and talking about binders on my desk and files on my desk and thousands of videos. The intrigue. MAGA influencer Laura Loomer, a Bondi critic, wrote on Friday that Bongino and Patel were furious the way that Bondi had handled the case. Some Trump advisors had criticized Bondi, but Trump loves Pam and thinks she's great, a senior White House official said. Those witnessing the Wednesday clash between Bondi and Bongino in the White House were Patel, Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, and Taylor Bundowich, Deputy Chief of Staff. During the meeting, Bongino was confronted about a News Nation article that said he and Patel had wanted more information released about Epstein, but were held back. Bongino denied leaking that idea. Pam said her piece, Dan said his piece, and it didn't end on friendly terms, one person briefed on the heated discussion said. Bongino left very angry. The fact is that Dan was for releasing the information with the video and had no problem until he got heat online, senior administration official said. Bongino found the video missing minute. He vouched for it after a thorough review. He said that this would be the end of the matter. When that didn't work, he lost his mind and ran out of D.C., according to a source. Said a pro-Bongino source, Dan is not the bad guy here. He shouldn't take the fall. Yikes. This is what we always feared would happen.
Yeah, because you got to look at it like Dan Bongino is pretty much saying, Pam, I'm not finna lie for you or anybody else. We promised the American people this, and we need to get this out. We need to get this out. So for some reason, it's something that she's holding back. It's something that she's holding back. And like I said, Dan Bongino and Kash Patel is like, you know what? I can't keep taking the fall. I'm not finna, get destroyed by the American people because of Pam Bondi. So that's the way it's looking right now. So, and you see, it was a lot of MAGA supporters like that was pissed off. And so now you got Kash Patel and Dan Bongino pretty much furious and walking out. And where now, like I said, you got Kash Patel threatening to quit if Pam Bondi ain't fired. So I don't know what President Trump is going to do about that situation. Is he going to, try to talk to Dan Bongino, get them to stay? I don't know what's going to happen, but I will keep y'all up to date as more information come out, though.
As we have said many times, we are friends with these individuals. Some of the clips of these individuals that have gone so viral lately are from our show. We don't want to see the meltdown. We don't want to see the blow up. This is what happens when you do things incorrectly. You have the contagion like this, and this is what happens when you do stuff with. This is the fallout. The team was working really well, and then when you have a catastrophic nightmare like this with the base, that could cost. I'm not going to enumerate it. It could just cost people a lot, right?
Yeah.
When you're seen when you are perceived to be lying by the base, it's bad. The blow-up involving Trump senior law enforcement officials showed just how much the administration has been rocked by his handling of the Epstein case. At different times, Bondi, Bongino, Patel each have complained to others that they were being unfairly blamed for the Epstein flap and hung out to dry. Bongino, former Secret Service agent, joined the administration, gaining prominence as a conservative podcaster, regular appearances on Fox News. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche has decided to weigh in on all of this saying we all worked closely together on the memo. All of us signed off on the contents of the memo and the conclusion of the memo, which is an insane thing to say given the fact that it's not signed, which I still can't get over. So here's that commentary. This is Todd Blanche. Seems like a totally upstanding dude. Met him a couple times. Nice guy. He was a great defender of Donald Trump. All right? Great defender of Donald Trump in all those trials. I work closely with Cash and Bongino on the FBI memo regarding the Epstein files. All of us signed off on the contents of the memo and conclusion of the memo, and the suggestion that there's daylight between the FBI and the DOJ leadership of the memo's composition is patently false.
Wow.
This is Todd Blanche coming out. He's cooking on a ratio on this one. Viva. I say this with utmost respect without any snark or sass. The entire confusion stems from the fact that literally nobody signed it. It's undated and unsigned. Is it even legal, right, if it's an undated, unsigned memo?
It was leaked to
Nor did anybody
Axios.
take the responsibility for it. It was leaked and quietly uploaded to a DOJ website the next day. That is specifically the origin of all the confusion and controversy. Other than Carolyn Levitt's brief comment on the memo, nobody has even assumed authorship of it or presented it officially. It's such a bizarre point. People hypothesizing that the memo was fake, right? Perhaps a press conference to discuss this and its finding. Instead of letting all these little things fester and go viral, how come nobody signed their name into the memo, right? My sources at the FBI wanted to release more information about Jeffrey Epstein, Pam Bondi. DOJ said no, and this caused tension between Bondi, Cash, and Bongino.
See, I told y'all before, Laura Loomer, she's been on Pam Bondi. She cannot stand Pam Bondi. I don't think she didn't like Pam Bondi from the get-go. So if you look at this, it say from Laura Loomer, she said that her sources told her that the FBI wanted to release more information about Jeffrey Epstein, and Pam Bondi and her DOJ said no. This has caused tension between Bondi, Cash, and Bongino because now what's going to happen is that people are now blaming Bongino and Cash because they feel like, okay, Pam Bondi is a liar and y'all covering up for her, so it's making y'all a liar. So now they at the point where, you know what, forget this. If we can't drop these Epstein files and we know what's going on, then I'm out. We got to get rid of Pam Bondi. This is what Bongino and Cash is saying. So like I said, this right here does not look good, especially when there's information and Pam Bondi telling and her DOJ saying no, when the American people was promised that that they were going to release everything that they got. And now you got Pam Bondi saying no, nothing is there. And she's trying to get Cash and Bongino to lie with her. That's going to make a lot of people mad. It just is going to make a lot of people mad. And it, like I said, does not look good at all.
Bongino. Asking for transparency isn't difficult, says Loomer. Blondie is literally blowing up the Trump administration by concealing information, spending time on Fox News lying, the MAGA base, and releasing contradictory statements. There is information that can be released to the public, and the public wants to see it.
Yeah.
Why was the memo released on a Sunday night of the 4th of July weekend with no official signage or no names or administration officials? You only release memos on Sunday evenings on holiday weekends when you don't want anybody paying attention to the contents. Trump's team needs to read the room. And Blondie has been very damaging to the administration and damaged public trust in DOJ. She's hurting President Trump and his staff.
Wow.
She lied on national TV. She needs to be held accountable for harming Trump and the public trust.
Wow. Laura Loomer ain't playing. She said she lied to the staff. She lied to the MAGA base. Like, Laura Loomer is just not holding back at all. And breaking FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino took a day off from work after his clash with Pam Bondi over the See, and that's the thing. Dan Bongino knows some stuff. He even said he even found that minute. But why is Pam Bondi arguing with him, telling him, no, we ain't releasing nothing? So it's like, ugh.
All the news, man. That FBI, that Dan Bongino walked off the job. And this is now confirmed. Let's just see here. Axios says that this is true according to 4 sources familiar. I've called my sources, and they are not answering. I think I can tell you why. When you have look, they're not answering because it's true. It would be my experience is that they don't answer when it's true. They know what you're calling about. Scoop. This is Laura Loomer here. Let's see, when was this published? 10 a.m. today. This was published, this Axios article, also published today. Let's see if there's a dateline here. Developing story will be updated. Okay. All right.
Well, this right here does not look good, y'all,
like
at all.
Laura Loomer maybe might have had the scoop here. Anyway, just trying to give credit where credit is due. Cash and Dan Bongino are livid with AG Pam Bondi over DOJ memo and lack of transparency regarding Epstein files. Sources tell me Bongino is taking the day off work today, and there's now speculation as to whether he will return to his job at the FBI with disgust of Bondi's lack of transparency in handling the Epstein files. Pam Bondi has brought total embarrassment to President Trump, Cash Patel, lied to the American people. I'm told Cash and Bongino are furious. The blowback this has caused, lack of transparency. I mean, that's just a matter of fact. No matter who you blame in all this has caused a crisis of confidence inside of federal law enforcement.
Yep.
Which is sad because I believe that they really want, that this team really wanted to restore confidence in federal law enforcement. They would have taken this job if they didn't. I'm told Cash and Bongino are furious at the blowback. Cash and Dan should call for Blondie's public resignation, save themselves, and also push for full transparency of the Epstein files. This is an issue that the American people care deeply about, and somebody needs to be fired for this. Trump should just fire her. She shouldn't give her the courtesy of.
So, like I say, y'all let me know in the comment section, should President Trump fire Pam Bondi? And like I said earlier, I didn't hit my mic, but like I said earlier, if you think he should fire Pam Bondi, who should President Trump replace her with if he goes that direction? Because right now, we do know that President Trump likes Pam Bondi. We don't know if he would fire her or whatever the case may be, but let me know, who would y'all put in Pam Bundy's spot if she's fired? Because right now it seems like that Cash Patel them and Bongino ain't coming back to work unless she's gone. That's the way it seems, unless something changed.
Resigning. This is Laura Loomer. No fan of Pam Bondi, obviously, and we already knew this. And again, I've read to you the full statement from Todd Blanche. Trying to be fair here. This is what they say in response to this reporting. Axios says they have 4 sources. Axios is up with an article here, Laura Loomer, up at 10 a.m. this morning, with what seems to be the exact same sourcing, like what seems to be people saying the same thing, which is a strong argument, quite frankly, for this to be true. Because if Axios, who does not work with Laura Loomer, and Laura Loomer, who we know is well sourced inside the Trump administration, that's just a matter of fact, if they're both saying the same thing, then that means that the sources should stand a muster, right, and be impeccable. As I've said, I've called and my sources are not picking up.
Wow.
Which to me, in my experience, again, means that they know what I'm calling about and they know that it's true. What I can say here. What's my snap takeaway from this? Because it's all breaking news right now. My snap takeaway from this is I hate it. And I do too. And it's just such an unforced error. And I don't like it because I like Team Trump, and so many of them are my friends. And I want them all to work together, and I don't want this to be fallout and to be so destructive for people's, everybody has a rep, right? And so do we, this channel.
And I agree with Benny 100%. Like, we like the Trump administration. We definitely did not want this to happen. Not at all. But like I said, y'all get in the comment section. Let me know, what do y'all think about all of this. I'm going to say for the last time, I still believe in President Trump. I still believe he's going to get the job done. But on the other hand, with this, Pam Bondi situation with Dan Bongino, Cash Patel, it's not looking good. You already got Dan Bongino walking out of the FBI because he first with Pam Bondi. And now with the Cash Patel situation, which we'll be bringing that video next. So, like I said, thank you all for watching. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.